Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Joe Scarice, co-founder and co-host of the Credit Birth Strategy House, here on Clubhouse and live on the Credit Birth Strategy podcast, brought to you nationwide by Percatech, Mr. Yardell Perkins, our social media strategist, my partner in crime, I guess we'll call it as well. We'll get diving into this in the next few minutes. Very exciting times right now. Very interesting times right now. We got a political arena here called the presidential election, really making some moves here in regards to what the heck is going on kind of thing. You know, you got to always question really where we're going in this market over the next several weeks. It's going to be very interesting to see. I want to dive into this right away. We're going to be going over a great subject today: how to identify profitable real estate deal strategies. My name is Joe Scarice, founder and co-host of the podcast. Let's recognize our sponsors today. I'd like to thank, Mr. Yardell Perkins of Percatech, providing our social media strategy, our video work, our website work. Have that call to action with him and get yourself set up properly. Let's get an interview with you on our podcast. We're hitting over 60 podcasts now, downloads, doing 1,000 downloads a month. It's really exciting where we're all going with the podcast and the education. I want to thank Miss Linda Pelagas. She just had a very successful event in California yesterday with a group of investors. She is with Realty 4-in-1. She provides the educational distribution of her publication as well as events nationally throughout the country. I've been partnering with her for the last several years, and she's a great partner to have in regards to getting recognition out there in front of a lot of real estate professionals. I'd like to thank Mr. Eric Moss with MB Capital. I'm a referral partner with MB Capital. We provide unsecured business lines of credit for investors, business to business. Been around with Eric the last 15 plus years. Great person to kind of sit down and get some ideas on how to grow and scale your business with unsecured business lines. And I'd like to thank Lenmark Capital, where I am a senior loan analyst, providing asset-based lending options in the 1 through 4 units, 5 through 25 multifamily, fixed to rent 1 through 4 or 5 through 25, as well as fixed to flip, new construction, blanket loans, mixed use, evaluation, advisory, and strategy, licensed nationwide, and here to provide those type of elements of lending technology to real estate investors throughout the country. And we're here every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, providing education, networking, and strategy and discussions. And we try to tackle new discussions every Saturday and Sunday. So there's typically not the same discussion. We really try to break barriers in insight and opinion, and none of this is scripted, by the way. So we're going to dive into this right now. But first, let's get a little real estate market week ahead. All right, some updates that you need to kind of keep your eye on. Sales, according to the National Association of Realtors, all 4 major regions of the U.S. saw a decline in sales year over year, except for the West. Pending home sales increased 4.8% in June, but have declined in all 4 regions. Home prices have continued to increase and reach record highs, but some metros in Texas, Portland, Oregon have seen price drops. Mortgage rates have dipped below 7% for the first time in 5 weeks, which could increase activity for going into a fall market. But however, a lot of the advisors out there, they're thinking that rates might not fall below 6% until the second half of 2025. New listings have peaked for 2024 and are at a second lowest level on record. Builder activity. In June, 31% of the builders lowered prices to increase sales, and many were also willing to offer other incentives. Very interesting, very interesting. So let's invite some people in, do a quick share, and we'll get started here in just a quick second and get ourselves rolling. Always bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Had a great time last night after the podcast. We did some video work for some upcoming happy hours that we're having and hosting in Philadelphia. If you're around August 29th, please stop by. Newbold Exchange, Yardell Perkins, and myself are sponsoring a happy hour To go from 5 o'clock to about 8 o'clock. We're going to have wine, appetizers, snacks. It's going to be a lot of fun. September 7th, first Friday of the month, we're going to be having another event at the Wellness Center, the Philadelphia School of Massage and Wellness. We're going to be having that with another wine and cheese night. It's a Friday night. If you're in the Philadelphia market, come on by. We're going to have a lot of fun. A lot of little gift certificates and things being given away. But we're going to be talking real estate and the market updates. I am signed up to speak at the STR conference in Kalahari at the end of August. If anybody's going to be going to the Pocono STR conference, I'll be one of the premier speakers. Going to be also the Maryland Association of Realtor Expo in Ocean City. Also in Dover, Delaware, I'll be at the Delaware Association Board of Realtors. I'll be also at the New York City Real Estate Investors Expo, the Ohio RIA, and then also Triple Play in Atlantic City in December. And finally, I'll be at NAR, National Association of Realtor Expo in Boston, Massachusetts in November. So I got a lot of events scheduled coming up. So hopefully we'll get to meet, greet, break bread, have a cup of coffee, network, and strategize. Let's dive into our subject today, how to identify profitable real estate deal strategies. Identifying profitable real estate deals involve a combination of market analysis, financial assessment, and strategic planning. And I'm going to give you some key strategies and we'll open it up to our moderators. Number one is market research, local market trends, neighborhood analysis, and economic indicators. So you got to really dive into a market research into your market. Number two, property analysis, a CMA, a comparative market analysis, understanding the market values, understanding the market rents, understanding also the property condition when you're doing an analysis, and also a cash flow analysis, understanding the cash on cash return versus the DSCR of the subject property, potentially whether it's an estimate or current. Financial metrics. Financial metrics like cap rate, cash on cash return, or gross rent multiplier are very important metrics that you need to be able to evaluate your properties. Number four, financing strategy, understanding loan terms, getting proficient with what the rates are in a 30-year fixed or a 5-year ARM or 7-1 ARM or a 10-year interest only. We offer pricing sizes for you to underwrite your own deal. So understanding loan terms, leverage, and understanding some creative financing could be something that you should explore. Number five, risk management, diversification, exit strategy, and biggest, insurance. A lot of people do not consider insurance as a primary function to the debt service. It's becoming very costly, and if you don't evaluate that correctly, you could be upside down on one of your deals. Professional network. Number six, real estate agents, property managers, your power team, legal and financial advisors. Number seven, technology and tools, real estate platforms, real estate investment software, data analytics. And number eight, due diligence, doing title search work, property inspections, understanding zoning and regulations and permits. Number nine, negotiation skills, understanding how to offer and negotiate, making offers on a property and stay confident with that. Don't be influenced by someone else and the numbers that don't work. Understanding terms and contingencies and understanding closing costs. Implementing some of these strategies really can improve chances of identifying and securing profitable real estate deals. Good morning, Amy. Welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, how to identify profitable real estate deal strategies.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me. I am Amy Palvido. I am the chairwoman of the U.S. PropTech Council. I am also the CEO and founder of a real estate technology company, and I've been a long-time real estate investor for the last, I say this and I can't even remember enough to do the math. I guess it's the last 16 years. I started in 2008. And then prior to that, I was a general contractor, so I've been in commercial real estate for a very long time. So real estate strategies, if I go back to when I first started out into today, there have been lots of changes. I mean, everybody remembers driving for dollars, like you go around the neighborhoods and you go, and sometimes that's still a very effective strategy because there's not every house hits the market. Lots of houses, you want to identify houses, or if you're interested in houses or whatever the property is that you're interested in. A lot of it sits off the market for a long time, and the only way you can get that or find those deals is actually spending time and driving around your neighborhoods or wherever you want to look at it. But if you're trying to invest somewhere else that's not in your neighborhood, then you have to spend the time to identify which markets you really want to go after. How do you develop and find those off-market deals? And that's where technology can help you, right? There's a couple of technologies out there that facilitate off-market deals. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about tech in my time I have with you. So Flipbid is one of them. There's also a group called Bright Investor. And Bright Investor is helps you identify those other markets that are not in your backyard where you can't find those submarkets. So Bright Investor is a really good tool. I will say both of those companies are, full disclosure, are in the PropTech Council. And the PropTech Council is not like this, it's a nonprofit trade association. So I happen to know those technologies very well. So I know that they help you. So those would be two. But then back in the day when I didn't have Bright Investor and Flipbid, the things that I had to do is what Joe was talking about, which is you have to network. You have to, if you want to go invest, to say if I'm in Austin and I wanted to go invest in Houston or Dallas or maybe it was Tulsa, Oklahoma, or wherever it was, I would actually, before I made any sort of investment there, I would actually get my butt up there and I would network at the real estate investment associations, or I would just go spend time up there in that market before I made that investment, because the networking is crucial. No matter how good the technology is, you're just not going to know what it's like there unless you talk to somebody who's been in that market for a very long time to understand what's going on there. And the last thing I will say is that something that's not on technology and not in everybody's minds, especially a local realtor or somebody or local investor would know, is certain areas have certain stigmas that are very, very difficult to overcome. And you're not going to get that anywhere unless you talk to somebody who's local. And trust me, I was the value add reposition girl. I would go buy multifamilies that were run down and I would turn them Class C to Class B. And some of those would work because the neighborhoods that they were in, I could do that in. But some of them, no matter how pretty I made it was never going to generate the revenue I thought it was going to generate. It was never going to get there because that area had this stigma that I could not shake off. And everybody who lived there knew about it, but I didn't because I was from out of town. So you gotta don't make the mistakes I did. That's that. So there's my first half of nickel, Joe.
Well, I'm gonna try to get a little more out of you, Amy. So, being in prop tech that you're at right now, what are you offering to investors to help them identify deals or off-market opportunities or circumstances? Is there something that you're offering through the prop tech, your prop tech company, that can give investors insight, direction, strategy, lists, especially lists? Like, is there something that you can pull and charge and get identified if there's something customized, like maybe people that are in trouble in some type of circumstance, different layers? Is there something that you offer?
The council is really kind of evolving. It's fairly new. I mean, we launched it earlier this year. So, but that's a great idea. And I think that'd be something that we could easily kind of put together as far as a resource, you're talking about resources for investors. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like I'll give you an example. Like we have a software that we can pull that gives us the name, phone number, and the LLC that made a recent acquisition by zip code. I mean, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, there's a lot of those technologies out there. Yeah, for sure.
Is there something that you guys could put together from like a charging perspective, like to get free and clear lists or pre-share sale lists or tax lien lists, or there's something that?
Yeah. So our goal is really to help the prop tech industry. So what we're putting together is a little bit a layer above that. So we're actually collecting a directory of all the prop tech companies out there and what they do. So if you wanted to get some of those resources or some of that kind of stuff, we will. We're getting all these profiles out there now, but we will have categories of this prop tech solution does this prop tech solution does that, and then each one, and we're going to start putting those profiles out there. So if the investor is looking, hey, I need a solution to do X, they will be able to come to our website and look at all the solutions that do that. That's kind of the goal that we're creating now. But if you're looking for, there's a couple other resources out there now. I don't know if you heard of a Greater Town.
No.
Is that a no or a yes?
No, it was a no.
Oh, it's a no. Okay, so Greater Town is a really great website for investors, especially if you're going out. It has about 800,000 agents on there. It has, if you're looking for inspectors, if you're looking for, so it's like a resource for people who are trying to invest in other markets. They can go on. He basically has scraped the internet and put all of these resources together, and then you can go on there and kind of claim your page and use it for SEO and marketing and other things. I know it's like I scrolled it to divert from what you're trying to get to, but it's an attempt to. It's a place where you can create those lists and put out those lists for people in your area, right? And for people like that. It's just this SEO marketing. His guy's name is Drew Nath. He's been a broker for a long time, and he really wanted something like that, so he went out and made it. And that's how a lot of prop tech is made. It's like people who are in the industry, they don't see a solution, and so they go out and make the solution. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's tech people trying to guess at what needs to be made. But I think that's a great idea, and I can look into it as far as, any sort of resources for investors and have that, and then probably what we would do is we would have identify which solutions are providing that, and then we would put that out for people. But no, I think that's a good idea for sure.
Thanks, Amy. Really appreciate it. And are you eyeballing NAR as a potential go-to?
So NAR is already we already have a very good connection with NAR. So we have Alex Lang, who's their VP of Innovation and Strategy, is on our board. We have a residential prop tech specialty group that's a part of the prop tech council, and so we are building that out as we do it as of today. So Kate Ritter, who's a prop tech founder, is running that group. So we will have presence at the NAR's IOI Summit at the end of August in Chicago. And as we build out this organization, we'll have a very, very good relationship with NAR. And Second Century Ventures, Andrew Ackerman, who runs that group, he runs NAR's REACH program, which is they're helping other countries identify prop tech and how they can build out their, just the regulations in those residential or real estate regulations in those countries. I don't know if you know this, but the United States, US, and Canada are probably, and a couple of other countries have really good real estate regulations as far as it goes around, title and how you have your realtors are licensed. But everywhere else in the world, it is the wild, wild west. Like people, it's like back in the days when people were selling a piece of paper for land and they sold it 10 times because, back here, everybody remembers this movies where people are like, in the U.S. way back in the day. Well, that's how it is and exists in like Africa and in Latin America. There is no regulation around real estate, so it's a very interesting thing. So what NAR is doing is super cool with their REACH program. They're not only are they introducing technology, but they're trying to introduce technology in countries and build out just regulations around the real estate world in general. It's really super cool. And so great relationship with NAR, and I hope that we continue for sure. And then other organizations like the Urban Land Institute, obviously IFMA, BOMA, and the Green Build. We now have a partnership with the Green Building Institute as well. We're building out all of those partnerships, and I look forward to this council. I look forward to seeing where it goes in the next year or so, because it's it's just exploding, and we have 850 members in 6 months, and it just keeps continuing to grow. And we're getting into conference season, so we expect to have a lot more. My goal is to have 5,000 members by the end of the year. That's my goal.
Excellent, Amy. I really appreciate that. And it's funny, you brought up some names that caught my ear. Like I'm actually, I have on my calendar some ULI events coming up in the next couple of weeks. Some little niche tours and development discussions they're having. A Biz Now. I'm going to a Biz Now event this week. That's more in the waterfront. I'm trying to find different layers of real estate professionals that tie back to my new construction piece, my multifamily piece, because most of the people that at ULI are either very new or very advanced. There's no kind of in the middle, and the Biz Now is more third party advanced, with leaning more toward developer, new construction, BTR, or townhouse development, or even office retail, which is really not what I do. But I'm trying to find those nichier events, because you keep going to the same real estate investor events, and it's like, oh my god, it's like the same thing, and it's like I gotta spice it. I gotta throw some seasoning in here, But you have to talk to other investors. You gotta, like what you're talking about. You're identifying your goals in a very short term environment. Like you're not like, hey, I'm doing this next year. I'm doing this next week. You know what I mean? You're.
Yeah, I mean, I would. So the other one, have you been to Family Office Club events yet?
It's funny you say that. I get emails from them, and
yeah,
I'm
Super Summit in Miami is totally worth going.
I get it, but you understand where I come from. It might not be cost benefit in my space.
Oh no, it's in your space because they're not there to find you. They're there to chase money, but they're the people you want to talk to.
Okay.
So yeah, all of the developers and the land guys and a lot of those folks go to those family office club events. Okay. The same thing as the IMO private equity events, right?
Well,
those I missed that event, by the way. I missed going to Laguna Beach and going to that private equity event and then going out to Rhode Island because that was just so many developers and money in the room, and it's really just a good event.
Interesting. You're going to open my eyes now to it because I've been mulling that family office event, and I compare it to the IMN event in Miami, and because I go to the IMN SFR multifamily, and that made a lot more sense to me. So now I'll put that back on my radar. I got a pretty stacked schedule. If I'm hearing from a lot of the real estate agents or all these expos for the realtors are going to be packed. They're going to be packed because people want to know what the hell to do. They're still very confused in what's going on and where it's all going. So, yeah, I mean,
be packed too in Chicago.
Yeah,
it's going to be a good event as far as understanding, the new technologies out for realtors. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Yep. So that'll be a great event. I wish I could go. I'm going to be in my master's class that week, and I can't. It's like it's one of the weeks where we have to be in class 8 to 5, so I can't skip. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, I'd be there. But that'd be super cool. I also, those IMN middle market events, those are good because that's kind of the crowd you're looking for.
Exactly.
Those middle market events, and they're offered them out. They're like free in a regional, mm-hmm. And for the developers, it's free for them to go. And so you don't have to pay. So they get a lot of people there because it's pretty good content. And I think they just make the vendors, who are sponsoring, just don't sponsor, just show up and go to the events. But yeah, I don't know. Those are the kind of people that, they've got like maybe 1,000 units or whatever, or maybe between 100 and 1,000 units. They're at those middle market events, right? So those aren't bad. And you can get on stage at those. You just need to get in with the folks. I used to do that. I used to do the IMN tours, and I was on stages a lot, especially at the middle market events. I was on stages a lot, and that gets your name out there pretty quickly, for sure.
Thank you, Amy. Yeah, I listen. You got to network with people. You got to understand what's going on in different market conditions. You need to look and you got to talk to people that are working with property management companies. You got to really, really, really hone in on your talent right now
Yeah.
in real estate.
I mean, yeah. If I were to give one other piece of advice before I get off, I would. You have to network, and you have to have a good social media presence because that's how people find you. Yep. And for me, that's LinkedIn. For some of the folks that are smaller, that's Facebook and all the Facebook groups. But I would encourage you to be on there and be loud. Post all the freaking time so people know who you are because that will draw people to you. And as long as you're providing good content, and good content you might be lucky and be in a really good market that everybody wants to invest in, right? So if you happen to be in Indianapolis, Indiana, and you start posting about Indy and about how cool it is and about how much money everybody is making, over time, people will draw themselves to you because they don't know about Indy and you do. I mean, so there's Sabrina Huffingworth is on LinkedIn, and she posts about Atlanta all the time. She took this strategy, and it's great. And she does it. She posts about this about Atlanta and this over here, and everything is in Georgia because that's where she's from. And a lot of people will want to invest in Atlanta again, right? And so when they do, they're going to think of her. So you can have these strategies, and maybe it's not that. Pick another strategy. Who cares? But just be super loud on social media because that's how you will get people. You might find your next investor there. You might find your next partner there. You might find somebody who throws you a deal because they think you're super cool and an expert. But do use social media, and if you're not using social media, all you're doing is shoot yourself in the foot in the face because you need to use it. So that's my other half nickel.
Thank you, Amy. We're diving into how to identify profitable real estate deal strategies today, and we're throwing a lot of content out there. And you got to remember, there's so many different ways of looking at deals, so many different ways of looking at opportunities. Okay, and we brought up some really good ones. But you know what? The MLS is still an opportunity, right? Working with a real estate agent, driving for dollars, letting everyone know that you talk to, participating in real estate clubs, doing direct mail marketing, identifying pre-foreclosure properties. Show up to the damn courthouse steps at sheriff sales, checking out eviction records. I know a lot of people are focusing on evictions right now. Posting on Craigslist, searching Craigslist, buying tax liens, waiting out that process. Searching Bigger Pockets Marketplace or Facebook Marketplace. Put a sign in your yard. Renting yourself a billboard. I know two gentlemen that did that up in the Poconos. They are crushing it. Get a magnetic sign for your car. Create a radio commercial. Look for sale by owner signs. Browse expired listings. Tell your family and friends. Good morning, Monica. Another rose amongst the thorns. We go ladies first, of course, in here. I invited you up, so I saw you on the West Coast, so you're up early. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to how to identify profitable real estate deal strategies. Monica, going once. Monica going twice. We'll come back to Monica. We'll go to our gentleman, Mr. Timothy. Good morning and welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to how to identify profitable real estate deal strategies.
Good morning, Joseph, and Timothy Doyle. I'm up here in the greater Lehigh Valley, good old Pennsylvania. I'm a buy and hold real estate investor up here. Actually, I've been putting that on pause for a little while. I have a dual function. I'm an information systems project manager for a very large hospital network, and have a lot on my plate with that right now. Some of my thoughts are, agree, network, and Amy, you always hit it right on the nail, the head of the nail when it comes to some of these things. In fact, actually, I'd love to see if we can provide some of those resources that you had mentioned earlier, because I'd be very curious to check them out and take a look. As far as identifying some of the profitable deals, first of all, it's one thing we always usually, in fact, beat to death is, as Joseph explained earlier, is know your numbers. And again, if it's something where you're kind of new to the game, know your numbers both with whatever property you've identified, what you want to do with it, and your holding costs for that property, and how long you plan on holding it. Build, for me, because I do project management now, is I build a project plan around it, and I also put the goal out there is to when I need to have that property profitable or start getting profit back to, start making my money back. You don't want to hold on to a property for eons at a time and not have it be profitable and just start wasting away, money. So those are my thoughts. Now, as far as places to find or identify some profitable deals or areas to go, again, I can't say any more. I think Amy stole the show on that one. So that's kind of all that I have there, Joseph. I hope everyone has a good morning. So good morning, Justin, Joseph, Amy, and Ruru.
Timothy, how's the event been going on with you and Garrett? Are you still getting a decent attendance?
We are. During the week, I've had to take a step back from our Sunday evening clubhouse rooms only because of unfortunately, I've had a lot going on with work and my own personal stuff going on here between my houses and flips. But our attendance the other week, Joseph's referring to the Greater Lehigh Valley Real Estate Investors Network. We had a room of about 25 to 30 last week. But again, these are things that we're working on additional topics. I know I'm supposed to speak in September to project management and how to manage a project in Business 101 there. So that's it for that. So I expect a pretty decent turnout for that one.
Good. Please say hello to everybody. Thank you for coming in, Tim. So, scouting target areas, okay? Identifying signs of distress. I could walk around my block and tell you which houses are not being taken care of more than others. It's visual, okay? The lawns are not being taken care of. The property itself is not being taken care of. Moss is growing up on the side of the house. There's different signs that could tell you something's going on that property. Sometimes it's just a matter of going up and knocking on the door. Hey, how are you? I live down the block. I have a make up a story. I have a family member looking to buy a home in the area. I'd like to find out if you're looking to sell your home sometime in the immediate future. You're not fibbing. Maybe it's not a relative, but maybe somebody you know that will buy it from you. You know what I mean? And you could either the person could tell you to go scratch, or you spark a conversation. I think direct mail marketing still works to a point. I think Facebook ads work to a point. I think in-person marketing definitely works. Identifying strategic partners. Like I went to an event this past week. Everybody was a real estate agent. Everybody was a wholesaler. And I told them, listen, I'm looking for very specific type of properties. This is my buy box. And I broke it all down for them. I'm on now 20 more people's lists for deals. I just need one at a time, right? So that in-person marketing, and you got to tell people what your buy box is. What are you specifically looking for? Even if they don't really get it, you learn to say what your buy box is. I'm buying in these specific counties. I'm looking for this type of renovation, light to moderate or moderate to heavy. I look for single family through 4 family. Be specific in what you're looking in for and realistic expectations. And there's nothing wrong with cold calling. It definitely breaks the barrier of being introverted to extroverted. Track and follow up, craft a script, set up a call schedule, make calls, build and acquire a list, set realistic expectations. Browse expired listings. I'm not a fan of that because everybody else is doing that. I don't like to follow the swarm of fish going in one direction. I like working with wholesalers. They're always trying to find deals, man. They are hungry. I feel like they're the hungriest real estate professionals out there. Building those relationships with them and establishing your criteria with them is very important. Check out auctions. Identify auction platforms. Research properties in advance. Understand your financing capabilities. These are realistic things that you need to do. And then get back to door knocking. I know a lot of people love doing that. Like in Philly, people door knock a block or 2 a day. Hey, man, that's a great objective. You get one deal out of that, one listing, one buy, one distressed person. You never know when you're going to catch somebody in a circumstance. Landscape and real estate diverse strategies could be very lucrative. You got to try and true methods to hold value and create crucial, ever evolving techniques to attract new deals. Justin, good morning. Welcome. Brief overview of who you are, what you do, and thoughts to how to identify profitable real estate deal strategies.
Yeah, good morning.
Justin, you're a little cryptic. Can you get a little closer to the phone?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Justin Jefferson. I'm in the Southern Louisiana market. I'm a real broker, real estate investor, and financial building as well. I believe, first of all, there's already been some good stuff dropped this morning, but I think my key identifiers for identifying, for trying to put my hands on some property that was properly. Obviously, seller in distress. I look for property in distress. I look for ways that I can improve the property. So that goes back to looking at my skill set that I have, the things that I have put together, whether that's the DC and their capability. And so I think knowing what I have in my skill sets is as important as knowing what I'm looking at. Because I can see opportunity in something like, for example, and talking about taking a blighted property, turn it into a Class A or Class B. I probably might not be. That's not something that I believe I would be able to take on, right? Because of my skill set. Right? But if we're looking at, maybe a house or maybe a duplex or something like that, maybe just wanted, or maybe let's say we were looking at the same property and wanted to do something that was for different houses. That's something that I feel like I have good intentions in that. I've been successful. So when we're talking about housing, talking about family, regarding the opportunity that we're seeking, right? Regarding the profitability of something, I think we, look at the news and see exactly what am I good at and what is my team good at, or what are the people around me good at that can make this deal, right? This opportunity success. And so this is a little different perspective on that this morning, Joe.
Thanks, Justin. What is a buy box? I think that's where Justin was going. A buy box is a tool real estate investors use to determine the types of properties they want to purchase. The buy box is usually broken down into columns and details the criteria a property must meet to be considered for purchase. This tool helps real estate investors focus on their goals when analyzing potential real estate deals. The buy box can consist of standards that are important to the investor. Common criteria may include, but is not limited to, location, prices, property type, size of the property, or age of the property. This simple tool helps real estate investors focus on certain properties. If a property does not meet the criteria in a buy box, the investor knows to move on to another project. The buy box is used as a filter to focus on properties that real estate investors are truly interested in. Defining this criteria of a buy box can also help investors avoid being overwhelmed by an abundance of real estate opportunities. Deborah, good morning and welcome. Brief overview of who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, how to identify profitable real estate deal strategies.
Good morning, Joseph. Yes, I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm a realtor. I'm actually from Illinois, but I've been living in Las Vegas since 1988. Been a realtor since 2005. I've seen the city massively grow. One of the things I'm doing, Joseph, is I get a notice of default list from my title company. So what I do with that is I identify the property, see if it's, worth going after, money-wise, as far as the price of the property. and then I contact the homeowner and see what if they have to sell, if they don't have to sell. So that's one of my things that I'm doing now, and I agree what you say. I'd love to get I'm getting so many calls and texts from investors, and I'd love to just have them send me their box, like, hey, I'm looking for this, this, and this. It would be much better than, hey, I'm an investor. Do you have any deals right now? Which is most of the text that I get. So if they would send me their box, then it makes me, when I'm looking for the MLS or I'm doing my everyday deals with real estate, I keep them in the back of my mind because I know that's what they're looking for. So anyway, Joseph, that's pretty much what I have. So thank you very much. And networking and social media is so important. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Real estate investing can be a very lucrative venture, but it requires careful planning and execution to achieve success. The aspect of understanding the concept of this buy box, the set of guidelines that investors use to identify and evaluate potential properties that align with investment goals. A blog post, putting something out there in the open. I'll be honest with you, a lot of my posts get some really great analytics and impressions on, and I want to agree with Amy. I'm doing very well with leveraging LinkedIn. I feel it's a stronger tool than Facebook in some circumstances. Now, Facebook does provide a lot of inbound lead traffic for me, very organic too, and it's very specific. It's getting better in specifics, so it's driving very granulated discussions to me consistently. But there's some essential buy box rules that you can help you with investors make informed decisions and maximize returns. And it goes back to some of the old school, discussions: location, location, location. The first and most fundamental rule in real estate investing to prioritize location. Defining your investment goals. Before diving into the real estate market, it's essential to define your investment goals very clearly. Financial analysis. You have to be able to conduct thorough financial analysis before making any investment decisions. Understanding ROI, cash flow, debt service coverage ratio, and also consider the market conditions. Is your market losing value right now? I know certain neighborhoods in Philadelphia that are definitely losing value. I know certain areas in Chicago, St. Louis, let me think, Baltimore. I know certain areas that you got to be very cautious of, others than some than compared to others. Okay, and you got to understand property condition and repairs. Is it smart to do a full gut to the studs? Does it make more sense to do light or moderate rehab right now? What's the costs are? What are the costs per square foot for a gut, or a cost per square foot for a light or moderate rehab? You got to understand those as an investor, and eventually, also evaluating potential risks. And you really need to understand financing. We here at the Creative Birth Strategy Podcast and House, we provide pricing sizers where you could price your own deals out based on the complexity or the straightforwardness of the project. And you must always understand your exit strategy before you start. Do you have proper exit strategies if you don't flip the property? If you don't sell the property, will it cover its cost till you can sell it in time? Will it appreciate? The type of renovations that you're putting toward the property, will that create the value add that you need for the potential buyer that's looking for that type of property? Have you done your homework in the surrounding area in the competitive market that you're in? Real estate investing can be a very rewarding journey, but it requires adherence to the essential buy box rules to minimize risk and maximize returns. By prioritizing location, defining your investment goals, conducting thorough financial analysis, and staying informed about market conditions, you can make well-informed decisions that align with your long-term strategy. Remember, each property is unique, and there is no one-size-fits-all to approach real estate investing. Diligence, patience, and willingness to adapt are key traits of successful real estate investors. Amy, some additional thoughts to our discussion this morning?
Oh yeah, I just that was like super key because and Justin brought it up too. You got to know what you're good at, and you have to stay disciplined to your buy box, right? Whatever you understand, you're self aware enough to know that hey, I not like not everybody is a former general contractor like me, right? So going and doing a value add is probably not your gig. But going something that you could just maybe change paint colors or something simple and starting there. But a lot of people will get wrapped up in emotion, like, oh, this is such a really good deal, and it's way over their heads. And they don't know that it's a really good deal because they're making an estimation on maybe they're listening to somebody else, but they can't make that judgment for themselves because they don't know what they're doing. But I've seen it happen over and over and over. People get into, like I said, a value add, and they get way in over their head, and then they have to leave the project midway through because they didn't know what they were doing in the first place, and it's a recipe for disaster. So stay with what you know. If you want to get into something that you don't know, partner with somebody who does, and that way you can learn that. But don't get in over your head because you get wrapped up in the emotion of the deal because it looks like a really good deal. Yes, it's a really good deal for somebody who knows what they're doing, but it's not a really good deal for you. So that would be my other half a nickel.
Man, these half a nickels are dropping it from the sky. I'm telling you. It ties into what is your real estate why? Why in real estate can refer to reasons people choose to work in real estate or become the real estate professional. Okay. One is passion. Two are personal reasons. Three are lifestyle. And four are financial reasons. I found my passion in real estate in the lending space, in just lending. Real estate was before that, but in lending, probably around 2009. I was disenchanted with the banking, the direct banking environment. It was getting very stale. You were just kind of like with everybody else, nothing unique, no shoehorns to separate yourself from the rest. You're under the bank's thumb. I was in it, 17, 18 years already. I was well known in my space, but I wasn't growing. I wasn't expanding. I think it was about 6 or 7 years ago. And Blackstone presented an opportunity for me to not jump into something, but kind of just walk across. Say, hey, listen, we want to take advantage of your real estate investing space. We don't want you to do anything owner occupied. We don't want to do anything with secondary homes. We want you to strictly work with investors. That's it. We're going to give you all the tools that you really want, and without the whole boundaries of regulations in the banking environment. And I'm like, okay, let me look into this. And obviously, almost 6 years later, I'll never go back to a standard bank environment in my career. That's just not going to ever happen because I'm passionate about what I do. Okay, and I know what I can do, and I keep emailing people over and over or putting it out there what I exactly do. But don't you do this? No, this is what I do. I constantly getting, hey, do you do anything with strip malls? No, is that on my punch list? Well, I figured I'd ask. Well, I just don't. I don't be involved. I'm not involved with that. It's not my lane. Oh, do you work on warehouses or industrial? No. I'm very specific, and I feel a profitable real estate deal or real estate strategy as a whole, you need to figure out what your lane is. Is it single family? Is it 2 through 4 family? Is it 5+ units up to 10 units or 10+ units up to 20 units? Is it 25 units and above? Do you have the experience to be able to go after what you're doing? Have you struck a deal with your power team and say, listen, this is what I want to put together? Have you taken everybody out to dinner and say, hey, this is my game plan over the next 4 to 6 weeks or to 8 to 12 weeks, and I want you to be part of it? Like, I'll give you an example. The happy hour that Yardell and I are hosting on August 29th, we're letting everybody really, really know about our podcast. We actually have, I don't know if anybody saw on LinkedIn, but we had a truck advertising our podcast all throughout Philadelphia, around City Hall, around Philly Stadium. People are calling me and say, hey, I just saw your billboard advertising on a truck about your podcast. It was really funny. But it's not. I'm making sure people are aware. Like I walked into an event, like I said last week, and it was like, hey, I see your advertisements. Oh, hey, how did you like them? Oh, they're great. Hey, do you want to come to my event? Oh, thank you. I said, what are you bringing to the table? Are you an investor? Are you a realtor? Oh, I'm a realtor. I'm a wholesaler. The conversation was way more friendlier. Okay, you got to stay out there in front of people. You gotta look interesting where people kind of create that inbound inquiry back to you. That's a strategy. Okay, I'm not doing anything differently. I'm just decorating the cake a little differently. It's still a cake. You gotta go after. You gotta strike the chord of the investor mindset if that's what you want to do. If you want to work with first time home buyers, that's great. You want to work with listings, that's great. But in this room, in this discussion, we're working strictly with investors. That's it. That's all I work with. So the discussion's never really going to go into the owner occupied space. I touch on that on upcoming on news when I give that initial update in Mortgage News Daily or DS News. I recognize how that might impact owner occupied deals. Always impact the investor inquires. Like, great, the rates are coming down. We're going to have a great investor fall market. That's how I look at it. I don't look at it as, oh, great, we're going to have a great owner-occupied market. I'm looking at, man, the investors are going to come off the sidelines because they're going to go down. The rates are going to drop a quarter point. To me, a quarter point that doesn't really mean that much in the grand scheme of things because I'm a debt service coverage ratio lender. So at the end of the day, I still look at debt service one way or another. A quarter point's not going to make that much of a shift, but it might get some additional people off the sidelines to refinance to then buy more properties with the cash they're taking out and moving it on to other properties. That's how I look at it. So you got to very much define and identify what is going to be profitable for you in whatever service you're providing in the investor space. Right? You got to identify that, and you got to hone in on that. And like Amy was saying, and Deborah was saying, that social media presence, that consistency, that continuity, investing into that, I think is more important than buying pens and calendars with your poster, your face on it. None of that doesn't make nobody really. To me, that's I think irrelevant. Like I'm going to be doing all these expos. I'm putting my business cards out, my flyers out, and mints, and my pull up banners. There's no coffee containers being given away, no pens, none of that stuff, because none of it's relevant to what I do. I'm very specific in my intentions in identifying opportunities and with the profitability of deal making for real estate investors. Justin, any thoughts to our discussion on how to identify profitable real estate deal strategies?
No, I think I could ape some of the stuff that's been said this morning, but I think it was a very well discussion. Touched on, I guess I'll just kind of double back to what I was saying about going. What's it? That's just kind of where I believe to go. Like I said, I'm applying everybody for the conversation.
Thanks, Justin. Building trust and credibility. Highlighting information and insight for people to find you interesting to inquire and communicate with you. Showcasing your brand. Creating content marketing campaigns. Building a stronger online presence. And using SEO optimization. And some investing strategies that you might want to consider to meet your goals, whether it's long-term or high risk, core plus, value add, opportunistic, and investment properties. As a counter to deal-driven real estate market, a strategic approach and analyze what is best for the business, not what is best for the developer. Real estate is a font of identifying for customers and a place of production, creation, and administration. You got to have a good platform wherever you're working from, and you got to work on that day in and day out. For me, it's video, it's blogs, it's articles, it's postings, networking events, following up with our CRM, is spending money on enhanced presence on Google Business, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Not big money, small portion money here, there, and spending the right money on the right marketing material, flyers, cards, banners, tablecloth, the essentials to look professional at events. Amy, any final thoughts to the discussion? How to identify profitable real estate deal strategies?
Yeah, what you're talking about is super useful. So I'll just, you kind of come at it, but for those of you that don't know, I'm currently in my master's program in the University of Texas, and we're going through this right now as part of my master's program. What you're talking about is identifying your target market, right? This is what you've done inherently, is you've identified your target market and what matters to them, and you're marketing directly to those things. So your radar is up and paying attention to certain things that are going to matter to your target market. And this gets back to, if you're a real estate investor or you're in this space, you are a business owner, and therefore you need to run it like a business. It's not a side hobby. It's not something you do to make extra. If you're going to take this on and you really want to do it well, it's a business that you are running. Therefore, marketing is key to it. And then you need to identify, okay, your buy box is one because you're identifying where you're investing in. But then how are you going to go attract those people that are going to help it, help your business? And so you have to spend the time. And I made this mistake early on when I was doing this stuff. I was just throwing stuff up on the wall and seeing what sticks. Like, that's what I was doing because I didn't take the time to identify what's my target market, who am I going after, so I can really concentrate my marketing dollars to those people. And Joe's just getting smarter at it, right? And he's doing it. And this is the stuff that we're learning in my master's class, is how do you do the market research? How do you do these things to make sure that your target market is the right and your messaging is getting to those people? Because if you don't do that, you're going to spend, like what I did early on back in 2008, you're going to waste a lot of damn money. And you don't need to do that. So spending the time to really hone in on who it is that you're targeting, who they are, know them intimately on what they need, then you can provide that solution to them, right? And then if you do that, you're going to get further faster. So that's another technical. You're getting like a whole quarter out of me.
I'm getting like $1. It sounds like, man. I'm walking away with a full $1. I mean, I think it ties back to historical data and trends. Understanding pricing trends and rental rates and market cycles and government policies and infrastructure, population growth. You need to know where what's the economic indicators, and Amy, like GDP. I mean, anybody in this room know what the job reports look like this past month? They were horrible. The unemployment numbers were shit. Excuse my French.
Yeah, but we should be doing cartwheels because it's finally now because it took this long they weren't going to move and they weren't going to budge until the job report got so bad that they will recognize that it's a recession. They would not do that until the job report got bad. And if you don't understand that about the Fed, then you need to, because everything else, they were trying to beat inflation, but they would never call it a recession unless the jobs went to crap. And so that's what they've been waiting on. They've been waiting on this the whole time. So now that the jobs are crap, and they'll probably be crap for another couple of quarters, now we can ease off. Now we can back out. Now we can, lower the interest. So everybody was expecting that they will lower the interest rates in the third quarter, but nobody was for sure. But now that the job report went to shit, I think it will. They will actually ease off of what they've been doing because that's what they've been waiting for. And it's really interesting. But yes, being a real estate investor, you got to understand economics for sure. And in your marketing, what are the main things when you do market selection? It's wage growth, job growth, right? It's the crime in the area. It's different things that are going to impact how much you can charge for rent. What's the average median income, right? All of those things. Well, when you're in a recession, all that crap goes out the window. And you're just like, okay, now how do you adjust on which markets? Now some of that will matter, but now it's more of, okay, where's the rent to what's the average median income, and is there a delta in there to where this market's going to make sense for me in order to buy in that market, right? So it shifts a little bit, but and it'll go back when you get into a good economics, back to crime and just the average median income and wage growth and job growth, because there is no wage growth or job growth right now. You can't use it, right? So it's interesting. You got to be obviously a student of your game and know what's happening in economics, because it affects everything that you do. So here,
Another dollar.
another dollar.
Deborah, any final thoughts to our discussion this morning in regards to how to identify profitable real estate deal strategies? Deborah going once?
Sorry,
it's all good.
Yes, I agree with everything Amy just said, and I just hope for a better 2024. And I just, we've got 4 million working age people just joined our working force here. So where are they going to get jobs? That's my concern. They're here. Where are they going to get the jobs, and where are jobs going for citizens? So anyway, I don't want to get political, but the numbers just, no wonder we have unemployment. But hopefully 2024 will be better.
I do agree with you. I see trends not working for us right now, with money going out of the country elsewhere that is creating and forcing inflation. People don't realize we don't create inflation. Government does. Government is not looking out for our best interests currently right now. They're looking out for everybody else's best interests. And that's when you have impact on the bottom line. But right now, if rates do get impacted at the end of this month into September, and the Fed is forced to drop the rate a half a point or a quarter point or whatever they decide on, they will never acknowledge the fact that we're in a recession, but we are, or a recessionary type of environment. And you need to look at it that people are not going to go running out and buying a property in the fall. It's going to be an investor play for the rest of the year, from September forward, if the rates drop. People don't traditionally buy a home in September. And by the time November 1 comes, you're in holiday mode. Nobody's buying anything throughout the winter till the later of the after January at some time. So you got a very small window of opportunity here if you're looking for owner-occupied space. But if you're in the investor space, I'd be gathering my inventory for individuals to look at for light rehab or moderate rehab to hold. The timing for a better rate for debt service coverage ratio on the 30-year fixed play on the 1 through 4 space and the 5 through 25 space in the multifamily is unreal right now. And even mixed use is stepping up a little bit in product for that mixed use blend of residential to commercial. There's some programs rolling out ever so gradually for more qualified borrowers in the mixed use space as well. So there's some really good data that we put together today in regards to understanding and how to identify profitable real estate deal strategies. But again, if there's any discussions from a financing perspective, how to price deals out, how to use better worksheets to identify better deals for yourself, please email me or reach out to me via text or call. Let's have a strategy discussion. Why not have a strategy discussion with one of the moderators here as well? Amy, Deborah, Justin, Timothy. Why don't you reach out to one of them and take 10 minutes and introduce yourself and see if you could be part of each other's power team and refer opportunities back and forth to one another. That's what this is about, the Creative Burst Strategies podcast. This is not just about us putting out content. It's about creating a following of trust and introductions to the right people and feel comfortable that you're handing somebody off to a great person. That's what you want to be in the position of. I want to thank our sponsors, as always, Mr. Yardell Perkins of Perkatech, our social media strategist. Reach out to him for any of your social media needs. MB Capital with Eric Moss and myself. We're a referral partnership where we're providing unsecured business lines of credit for investors throughout the country. Linda Pelagas with Realty 4-in-1, your national publication and your event planner of national real estate events throughout the country, and Lenmark Capital, where I'm a senior loan analyst. My name is Joe Scarice. I provide asset-based lending in the debt service coverage ratio space for rental loans, fixed to rent, fixed to flip, new construction, multifamily, as well as mixed use and blanket loan opportunities. I provide advisory and strategy and growth in your real estate investing platform. We're here every Saturday morning, 8 a.m., every Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Follow us on creativebirdstrategies.com. Download our previous replays and come back to our replays as well. And my quote this morning, I can, I will, I must. Have a great week this week on Sunday. Into the next week, kick some ass, and we'll see you next week, next Saturday and Sunday for two great news subjects. Everybody have a great Sunday morning. I'll be ending the room in the next 30 seconds. Thank you.